So we're going to have a little bit of a different chat today. I'm going to talk to Emma about something that she was asking me before we actually started recording. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Brianna. I'm the head of Bamby Media. We're a podcast and video production company, and we work with Emma. And I love doing these sessions with Emma where I sit in on her recordings, okay, and I help her record, or just at least be an audience there, or give her a bit of guidance on how to finish an episode, or how to start with a good hook or a good story or something like that. And so Emma came to me and she said, well, what did you say, Emma? Tell me what you said.
I said, I feel nervous still making this podcast after 5 years.
And I think it's become probably more nerve-wracking for you after we started working together, and I said to you, you need to stop doing so many guest episodes where you're highlighting all the guests and we have no real look into who you actually are.
I know. She pushed me, folks. She really pushed me. And I love her for it, and I also hate her for it.
And so, yeah, Emma came to me today with this kind of feeling of like, why am I still like nervous about this? Why is it still hard to do? And is it valuable? Like, is what I'm providing valuable? It feels like maybe it isn't. And so we wanted to have this chat today to have this discussion about what it's like being a business owner.
Yeah.
Okay. A content creator. That's what you are. You are a content creator.
Yeah, I don't see myself that way, but yep.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So being a business owner, yep, and a content creator and a saleswoman and a mother and a wife and all the things. How do you become comfortable as a business owner also being the front face, the personal brand of your business?
It's a great question. Also, I want to say that Brianna said it's good to have nerves. It's good to have nerves. But then when I told her what my nerves were, which is I almost dread showing up to do the podcast, the actual recording of it, because I'm like, am I going to say the right things? Do I have enough material? All the things just, this is just me being really honest, right? And the last set of podcast episodes, if you haven't listened to them, were very personal. So personal. After the one about one of my mum, I got off, Brianna, I didn't tell you this, I got off and I had a little cry because I'm like, that was so hard to record and put out there. And then thank goodness I was overseas when it came out, because if it was here when I came out, I probably would have had the same feelings over again. But I also am so desperate to show people that you can show up as you and it's okay. And I'm just still trying to get into that space, right? Like just showing up as me and it being okay. We're like conditioned to be a certain way. And I have always been a rule breaker, which is not great, but anyway, always been a rule breaker. And so I sometimes have to hide that because that's not necessarily appropriate. And I'm done with being appropriate. I've got things to share. It's just how do I do it in a way that serves the audience? And this isn't just a platform that I talk about myself, because that is not what I want to do.
Yeah, it's not like you're an influencer that's wanting to get higher up in the influencing world, and get more followers and get brand deals and all that. Like that's not why you're here, And I think the thing that's interesting, what I've found from watching the progression of you over the last, however long we've been working together, is part of my role here is to look at what happens when we post things on your LinkedIn and we see how that goes, right? So especially that stuff that's really hard, things when you're talking about what happened with your mom and we want to make sure that you're coming across and still being represented, that you're not just like, oh, here's my sad story, because that's absolutely not what it is.
Correct. It's not coming from a place of trauma. It's just I've healed and this is the thing. I will say how I've gamified this. So I know I say I am nervous and I dread rocking up for podcasts, and that is nothing to do with Brianna. That is nothing to do. That's just a me thing, right? But how I've gamified it is like trying to add in a shocking truth so that Brianna's face goes, and I go, oh yeah, I've nailed it. So maybe I've just hacked myself and gamified it in a way that makes it bearable for me.
And I think it's good when I'm on these sessions too, especially when you're sharing things like this, where it feels like you're just not talking to yourself. I feel like that helps. And so when we've posted things on LinkedIn and they've been really hard for you to record, but then you see what happens on the other end when people are then thanking you for sharing that stuff and saying like, oh my God, I love you even more now. That's what makes it worth it.
Yeah, and you can see the impact. It's just you've got to get over your own nerves and scaredy catness in order to have the impact. And that's the bit that I'm constantly pushing myself to do. I mean, no one would think me recording a podcast episode is hard for me. No one would think that now until this episode. It's been 5 years. Does it get easier? Yes, it does get easier. But also if your content shifts like we've shifted ours, and if you're in the focal point and it's just about you, that's like next level, right? And then you start talking about your own personal situation and you start talking about things that have previously been seen as taboo. And that was one of the reasons that I really wanted to do that, because we've got a stack of mental health stuff going on in my family. And there is still so much stigma. There doesn't have to be. And if someone is brave enough to say it, and the amount of, to your point, the amount of private messages I get to say, man, that episode really resonated for me. Thank you for sharing it, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you know what? If we've impacted one person, that's the whole reason I went into business in the first place, right? How do we impact one person at a time? And if it does that, I've done my job. But it's still freaking scary.
Yeah, totally. And then I guess the trajectory of how this works from a personal branding perspective is, and Emma and I have spoken about this privately, where, we're not airing her dirty laundry. We're not damaging the brand by sharing these things. These are things that are always from the frame of, this was hard, but I got through it. Or this was crazy. Oh my God, I'm never doing that again, like buying a motorbike. But this is what I learned. And so there's always, from the story, from the trauma, from the stigma, from the whatever, what out of that story has pushed you to become who you are and why you do the job that you do. So that's a question that you have as a listener to think about for yourself. If you're scared or worried about sharing some of yourself, you need to think about how the story that you can craft can turn into something that will help someone.
Yes, and I think at this point it's important to say you cannot do that when you're sitting in trauma. I see women turn up on Instagram mainly and they're in tears, they're in the middle of the thing and they just don't do it, right? It's not actually serving your audience. It's just helping you let it out and rant. I just don't want to be that person. And all the stories that we've got are, I've healed from it, I've done the work, I'm on the other side. I would not share anything that I was just smack bang in the middle of. I just don't think that's fair on my audience. And I'm not sure how that's helpful in serving the audience either. So I just want to put that caveat in there, because I think some people use social media as like a venting ground to help them heal. I would never do that and I'd never recommend it.
Yeah, and I think, again, that's another type of person that does that, where they feel like they want to share that messy, I'm in the middle of the thing, and that a certain type of person will also respond to that and will want to follow that person. But as to how they then would work with that person, like if we're talking from a professional standpoint, that doesn't make sense, does it?
No, it doesn't make sense. I have a lot of clients who are in the messy middle. We have lots of tears, lots of laughter, lots of things. Would I share it? No. Would they share it? No. It's a private journey. And this is what I struggle with, right? There's got to be some privacy. Like, I'm actually quite a private person. So when I share the things, I've thought heavily about them. I've thought about what the implications are. And I've gone, yeah, okay, this would help serve an audience in this way. So I've already thought about it, versus not having any thinking to do with it and not being in the messy middle of it.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's really smart. And where you're at now, do you feel like you understand the benefit of what you're doing?
Oh, good question. As in podcasting, do you mean?
Yeah, I think podcasting, and then more generally how that impacts, like, what have you seen that kind of shift for you in the last, let's say 6 to 9 months?
Yeah, I think the benefit of how I'm showing up now is that people know me more, for sure. Like, we have nailed a sneak peek behind Emma's life, what it actually means, how I got here, why I'm here, etc., etc. But also, even my clients who I've worked with for years now religiously listen to the podcast because they're like, we don't want to miss that bit. Like, what else don't we know about you? And I find it fascinating because I was having a conversation with one of my clients. She said, I didn't know that about you, Emma. And I went, well, in our coaching sessions, the coaching sessions are actually about you. They're actually not about me. And what I've realized is people need more of me, but I don't want to take up the coaching session talking about me, right? Because it's actually about them. Like, they're investing in coaching to get the coaching. But then I'm like, how can I pop snippets of myself into that so that they still feel like they know me? Because the worst thing is you think you know someone for 5 years and then they turn around and go, oh, yeah, I did this, this and this. This is a classic example, right? We had a retreat on the weekend, Thriving Women Retreat, and I happened to mention that as a teenager, I got put in the back of a paddy wagon. Now, everyone was like, what? Because they only know me as this like professional business coach. And then, I was able to sing a whole song about being in the back of a paddy wagon, and they all thought it was hilarious. It didn't take from my professionalism for who I am now, but it showed them that, oh yeah, she's got this other life. And I suppose on the weekend, it kind of like occurred to me that it's okay to share those bits of yourself. You don't have to share them all. Like, don't go all ugly, but you can share the bits that have a great story to them, but also so that people can get to know you as the human being. And, in the world of AI, we did a great masterclass on AI. It blew my brain. But one thing that I know is that in a world of AI, when content can be written by AI, the human aspect, the stories that we tell, we just have to let those out because people want to work with human beings. And I've always said that, but it's like AI's just like push that a little bit further, right? And so I'm not saying we don't work with AI. I'm saying be human, share the stories that make you you, and be okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it just makes you more interesting, like as a person, to then want to work with you if they know a bit more of your backstory and they can see that you deliver on what you say you're going to do. Having that all together makes me go, ooh, Emma's the one for me, versus someone that's just spouting like the same business coaching advice that I can get from anybody. Emma's got her whole story wrapped into it and then is also a very professional woman. So it just becomes this bigger kind of package of wonderfulness versus bland, could be AI, but is actually a person just not giving you any of themselves.
Yeah. And I mean, the elephant in the room about now is the amount of business coaches that are out there, Brianna. There's a lot, right? There's a lot of coaches out there. And so you have to work smarter and more strategically about digging out the bits about you that are really unique, because there are so many, might I say, cowboy coaches out there. And given my background and my experience and my time in business and doing all the things, just because I show up and I'm real doesn't take away from that. Whereas I thought I can't tell anyone the other bits about Emma McQueen because then I won't be taken seriously. And I think, especially when I first started on LinkedIn, I had so many blokes reach out and say, no one's going to take you seriously because you're wearing pink. And I'm just like, you know what? F you. Like, that is ridiculous. That is not going to happen. But that stuck with me because I'm like, maybe I can't show up as me then. Maybe me isn't good enough. And I just had to go, don't be stupid, Emma. Give yourself a talking to. Let's get on with this. Like, you are enough. You are good enough. And who cares that you wear pink? It's your favourite colour. Screw it, So I think you got to work through all these things as well.
Yeah. And you get better at it over time. And so for the person that is listening or watching this right now, if you're the kind of person that, like, you're an entrepreneur, I think this is the thing. If you're an entrepreneur, someone that's trying to build a business and you're not sharing yourself, then you are just going to get lost in a sea of everyone else.
Same. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And someone can go to ChatGPT and ask the question that Emma could answer, right? And then ChatGPT would give them a perfectly fine response. You know, maybe there might be some hallucinations in there. Maybe it might not be completely accurate. But ChatGPT could do a pretty good job. But Emma, or coming to someone that has a personality, has a story, and then knows nuance, that is going to be the difference. And you won't learn how to develop that nuance without sharing some of yourself, without knowing and understanding and establishing that what you're building is a personal brand first, and everything else comes after that. So when you're nervous, like Emma said, you know, when you're nervous, when you're dreading, these are the things that you have to have in your mind. Why am I doing this? It's to build my business, but it's also to help others. And if you're dreading and if you're nervous, that is a very good thing. It means you care.
Yeah, I care a lot. I don't care about what people think. So there's no people pleaser about me, but I care a lot about the quality, the value. You know, I just care. So I'm just going to go with, yes, I'm completely nervous and always out of my comfort zone. And for that hour and a half, once ever, whatever we do when we do it, that's okay. Just have a nap after.
Have some tissues and a nap.
Have some tissues and a nap. No more tissues. No more crying.
Okay, well, that was nice. Any other things you'd like to discuss before we close out?
I would just say that just because I am the business coach doesn't mean I don't have these really human feelings. And I think when you've got a group, when you've got a big community, they're like, you almost get put on a pedestal, right? Like, she must have it together. She must not feel nervous. She must not feel all these things. And that is just not true. We feel them and we do it anyway, right? I think about go-getters days. I don't like being up on stage, so I try and get on the mic and off the mic as quickly as possible, but I love bringing the community together. You just have to do the things. So I suppose this is one, a pep talk for me. Just do the things. 2, do the things and don't complain. 3, do the things, don't complain, and just keep showing up, I would say.
Fantastic. Nothing more I need to say on that. Nothing more I need to say. Look, I've done my job. You're doing so well. That's awesome.
Mic drop. I've done my job.
Okay. Have a good day, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.